Hello, everybody, and welcome. I'm really excited to introduce our newest coach, Shweta Mungal, to our team. Shweta is a NITA certified personal trainer. She is a mom of 2 teenage kids, and she's also in the process of getting her precision nutrition certification as well as her pre and postnatal certification. And she knows a lot about pre and postnatal training as well. So I am really excited to have Shweta on our team because she is just very knowledgeable about health and fitness. You're competing in a bikini contest right now, and so she's very driven, very motivated with her goals, and she's also a really great listener, really compassionate, and I know she's just a really fantastic coach and leader for people through their health journeys. So, Shweta, I'll hand it over to you. Why don't you introduce yourself and share more about your own fitness journey?
Thank you so much, Dee. That was very generous. You made my day with all those compliments. So my name is Shweta Mungal. I just turned 40 last year. It's so funny when people would ask me my age earlier, I would never tell them my age. I would be like, age is just a number, but now I flaunt my age. I'm like, you know what, I'm 40. So for me, being active, I was active in the sense that I would always do something or the other since I was 16. Either yoga or, I was always into fitness, like exercise was a part of my routine every day. But I had some goals. I wanted to lose fat. I had hypothyroid, so I needed to work to keep my thyroid in control as well. Okay. And in 2012, we moved to the US from India. After that, it was, I'm sorry?
Where in India did you live?
We were in Bangalore.
Okay.
We were in Bangalore. So after that, it was not as I found it harder to get back into the routine of things, and things are so much different here than they are there.
Yeah.
So then my thyroid was in control when I was in India, but then because I was not working out, I think just regular exercise helped me keep my thyroid in control. But then I came back and I came here and my numbers were out of whack. I could not find time to do activity. I didn't have a lot of resources.
Yeah.
But then I kind of joined a gym. I started doing group fitness classes. I learned a lot, but I never saw any results or, what I wanted to see. Yes, I was at a healthy BMI. Because of my workout, but I wanted some goals and I was not seeing them. And then there were so many misconceptions. At that time, I thought they were true. I saw somewhere that you should not eat anything after 8 o'clock, not even a grape. I saw that on Oprah Winfrey show, and I did not even eat a grape after 8 o'clock for years. That time, the term intermittent fasting, this was in 2008 or something, I saw that. The term intermittent fasting was not prevalent. It just said, do not eat anything after 8 o'clock. I did that. And then, you name it, except for maybe the Shakeology thing. I tried a blood group diet. Wow. I tried intermittent fasting in this way. I tried starving. I tried cardio. I tried everything out there, but I was not seeing the results. But then I kind of dug deeper. I found out, I researched a little, and then somebody introduced me and spoke to me about strength training. And I'm like, I don't want to look like a man. That's not for me. But I tried it. I loved it. And it changed me. It changed me from the inside and from the outside as well. And I realized that, that is what I needed for me to reach my goals. And after it changed me, I started, I got interested in how it works for Indian food, right? When I started strength training, I started macro counting as well. So that meant I had to give up. I went to a dietitian. They gave me a meal plan and I had to give up all Indian food. And I was like, that's not how I can live. I cannot eat. That's not food. That's natural.
Yeah. What kinds of things do they have on there? Because you're vegetarian, right? So what did they?
So they had shakes and smoothies and salads and a lot of kale and broccoli and sweet potatoes and oats. I mean, they are good for you.
Yeah.
But I want to eat my dosa. I want to eat my roti. I want to eat my idli,
Yeah.
So so then I kind of researched more on how to make recipes of my own and
Yeah.
to fit my macros to reach my goals. um, and I just found that scientifically what actually works versus what people say actually works are like two different things.
Mm-hmm.
And then that thing started working for me, and I really became interested in this, and
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
then pursued I had this dream of becoming a coach, so
Uh-huh.
that a trainer, so to kind of help people who were in similar boats like me, who did not have answers to questions. And well, that led me to where I am today.
Yeah, that's such an inspiring story. So you, it sounds like you, just to recap, you'd worked out a lot growing up, but once you moved to the US, things kind of slowed down, had some issues with your thyroid. You found that exercise helped with that, but you're still not seeing the results that you wanted because you didn't have a plan. And then you did a lot of research and kind of digging on your own and just kind of learned, sounds like the hard way. Sounds like you tried a lot of things that didn't work and before finding something that did work. And now we're hoping to inspire others with that
Yeah,
knowledge.
that's why I'm a huge I propagate it a lot,
Yeah.
strength training. If you see on my posts and all too, I because it changed my
I love
life.
it.
I
Yeah.
want.
You had such a great Instagram reel the other day about who my husband thought he was marrying versus who he's actually marrying
Did you
versus
see
like
my reel today?
no, but I just want to explain the previous one. It was like this very traditional Indian woman, like sari, everything, versus Shweta, who's like lifting weights and like strength training. And I want to touch on that. Like, how has your because you came here from India, you are kind of defying a lot of cultural norms in terms of becoming a trainer and working and being a coach and doing your bikini contest. How has your community or family responded to that?
So since I was young, I have been a rebel. So
Mm-hmm.
my parents are doctors, and they wanted me to become a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad wanted me to become a doctor. That's the reason I'm not a doctor today. He said, study. He said, why don't you study to be a doctor? I said, now I'm not studying to be a doctor,
Oh,
just to spite him. So, I mean, um, if you want me to do something, tell me how to do it, and I won't do it.
okay.
That's just who I am. I don't like people telling me to do things a certain way or forcing me to do things.
I think it's kind of human nature, right? And let's think about like the situation with the meal plan. When somebody tells you you have to eat these foods, you automatically don't want to eat those foods and you want to go eat cupcakes and ice cream.
Yeah, that's true. That's so true. That's human nature too.
Yeah.
And so I mean, at my age, my parents are very proud of me. I got married very early. It was an arranged marriage. My parents didn't want me or didn't think I would even. My dad was clear. If you want to work, then you should not have a job, because then you will not find a boy to marry. His
Oh my
whole
God.
agenda was to find a boy to get me married.
Yeah.
So in my community, if you have a job, or if you work, then it's very difficult for girls to find a match.
Yeah.
So he said, even if you want to work for your own, then you cannot work like have a job. You have to have your own business. Like you can be a doctor, or you can be something where you can do your own work.
Wow.
And I was not going to do it, so that's why I got married very early. And he was very happy that I got married early. But I like to say that I played blind and I hit the jackpot. My husband is a good man. He gives me a lot of opportunities. He lets me be.
Yeah.
He supports me in all my dreams. So my family does not know that I'm doing the bikini my siblings do know, but
Okay.
my parents-in-law, I'm not telling them.
Yeah.
But my husband, he supports me, and he knows that this keeps me happy, so he lets me do that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
No, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, the reason I asked is because I did a bikini contest back in 2017, and my parents did not know. But then when they found out, they were not happy at all. It was not good. So I definitely get it, and it's really inspiring to see you like breaking those cultural norms, and also like showing people that you can eat idli and dosa and still lose weight.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it is calorie deficit, right? We can
Yeah,
stand on the top of the roof and shout that it's not, but sometimes that's all it is. And it takes time to people to understand, and you keep on telling them again and again and again, and you hope something sticks there.
yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, you guys, Shweta has a Instagram series called Tara Dalal 2.0. Tara Dalal is like an Indian woman chef, food creator, and she posts a lot of really fun, healthy, Desi inspired recipes on her Instagram page. So, what are your favorite hacks to make Indian food a little healthier?
So of course, I think Indian food as such is pretty balanced with carbs, protein, fat. It just tends to be a little carb heavy because we do not eat meat. If you see the vegetarian food,
Mm-hmm.
adding Greek yogurt, and
It's a
like
good
with
one.
every meal, right? You start planning the meal with your protein. You just change how you think about your plate rather than changing the plate. So
Mm-hmm.
instead of thinking I need to eat something else, you can eat the same things just in different quantities, adding more protein, adding lesser portion of carb, adding more vegetables.
Yeah,
So I can still eat my dal, rice, and sabzi. Instead of having a lot of rice, a little bit dal, and a little bit sabzi, I'll have a lot of dal, a lot of sabzi, and a little bit rice,
yeah,
and yogurt on the side to give me, and that's a balanced plate.
it is. It is. Yeah.
So
That's a good point. Like, you don't have to necessarily change what you're eating, just the quantities and portions and all of that. And
yeah, yeah,
it is kind of like looking at what the meal is centered around. I think oftentimes in our culture, the meal centers around a carb. Like, you put your rice on first, it takes up half to the majority of the plate, or your rotis. And then you put the dal and the sabzi as like little extras on the side. But instead, if we flip that and we're like, okay, I'm going to serve myself the dal first. It has some protein, some yogurt, some sabzi, and then the rice is like the little bit left on the plate. That's definitely going to be more balanced.
and that's going to be balanced. That's going to fill you up. That's going to keep you fuller,
Yeah.
and it's going to get you results. So it's a win-win for me.
What about when you're eating dosa or idli? Because those are also pretty carb heavy. What proteins do you like to eat with those?
I mean, I do add paneer always to my dosas. With idlis, I do keep sambar, because that's lentils.
Mm-hmm.
And it might sound strange, but I have like boiled eggs or yogurt as a side always to my dosas, idlis to finish my meal. So I'll have like two dosas, a little bit of chutney. I'm not a big fan of chutney, but I like sambar, so I'll have some
Yeah,
sambar, a little bit of chutney. But I'll have my paneer or eggs or even a protein shake for that matter. Why not to
yeah,
make it complete?
yeah. Makes sense. Cool. Okay, so what are some of the things that you enjoy helping your clients with?
So I really like helping people find a way to solve their own problems.
Okay.
Um, it's like all of us have issues that we are trying to solve, goals that we need to reach.
Yeah.
So for me, it's about empowering people or helping people find how they can work how they can work around their current situation and come up with solutions that suit their situations,
Okay.
which will help them even after they finish coaching with me. So it will help them, give them a problem solving skill. It
Yeah.
will give them a way to look at a problem or an issue a different way. It will teach them techniques, or it will give them a toolkit um, to manage things so that they can have some skills for life. So like
What are
for
yeah,
example,
what are some examples?
for example, someone says, hey, I cannot get my steps in.
Yeah.
Well, what can you do to get the steps in? How can you make that work with your schedule? So then we kind of brainstorm, we come up with answers on how they can make it work. So
Yeah.
that way, I mean, rather than me helping them, we kind of do it together as a team work,
Yeah.
and it kind of becomes a habit, and they figure out, no, it can be done in my schedule. So that I have seen that happen, and that's something I really enjoy.
Yeah, that's a good point, especially going back to what we are saying before of like when you tell somebody to do something, they are resistant and don't necessarily want to. It often feels like, if you think of the solution yourself, you're more likely to do it. You have autonomy and control over that, right?
But a lot of time, a lot of people want you to give them the
Yeah.
fish. They want you to, but I mean, of course, when you need the fish, we will give you the fish, but
Yeah.
I'd rather you learn how to fish so that you can sustain it, and you can fish and feed yourself for the rest of your life. So that is something that I feel works really well and is really helpful to be successful in the long term.
Yeah. No, definitely, definitely. And honestly, that's why I hired you, right? Because even in the interview, you were exhibiting those skills, and it's just so important. A lot of people think coaching is just like we give you a plan and we're like, okay, bye, go do this plan. Everything's gonna be perfect. But it's really not. It's really a lot of problem solving. It's like, you know, you came home stressed from work and you want to binge eat Cheetos. We're gonna problem solve that and not just tell you what to do. Like, don't, you know, we're not just gonna tell you, okay, eat carrots instead. We're gonna brainstorm with you, like, what are some solutions that are gonna work for you better.
Exactly. And also, um, kind of like I said, right, having a toolkit of things to fall back on in case you have these kind of issues, or in case you face something unexpected where you might not be on the goal. And one more thing I want to say, it's also about the mindset, right? People have that, oh, I ate a burger, I'm ruined now. But I like to work on those parts as well, where we teach them it's okay, we are human, life is not always perfect. So I like to work on that part a lot, of mindset and goal building with my clients.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. I see this a lot actually with South Asian women, because we coach a lot of South Asian women. There's a lot of just perfectionist mindset with food, being really hard on yourself if you're not perfect. I used to be that way too with my health journey. So it is really important to work on those things and change those scripts in our head in our coaching journey.
Exactly. I learned it while coaching women as well. So, I mean, I was like, why are things not sticking? And then I realized, no, this is not how we we don't really change what they eat. We change their mindset, they may change their behavior. And change has to come from within themselves, right? We can only motivate them and show them the way.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So what is one thing that you wish everyone knew when trying to lose weight?
There are a couple things. One, I really wish that people know that losing weight is complicated, but actually it is simple. It's science. It's calorie deficit, right? If you want to lose weight, you have to move a little bit more than you eat. You have to spend more calories than you eat. So that is what will eventually make you lose weight. But what people do is they'll go low carb first, or they'll try their apple cider vinegar diet first. They'll try the juice cleanse. They'll do something which are not sustainable and really uncomfortable to start with. And then they just give up and they say, this is not for me. So that is one thing that I really wish people understood, that no, instead of that, let me just move a little bit more. Let me just add 500 more steps to my day. Let me add a little bit more vegetables to my plate. Let me start small, and then they might see results. So that's one thing. And another thing is that I really I've worked for 20 years, like I said, right? I've worked towards a goal, but I've never seen the results. So I really encourage people to have a plan to reach their goals, whatever. So if I want to run a 5K, I cannot just wake up one day and run a 5K, right? You do the program, you do the training, then you run a 5K. You hike Grand Canyon. You just don't wake up one day and you hike Grand Canyon. You train for it. You have a plan and you do it. Similarly, if you want to lose weight and you have a goal, having a plan is the game changer. So I'm a huge proponent of having plans for your goals, just because I feel that it keeps you motivated, it keeps you going, it takes the guesswork out of things. It helps you avoid injuries, and it keeps you on track. So that's another thing I would say.
Yeah, no, I love that. Having a plan is really important. You had a really funny analogy earlier with this. Do you want to share it?
So, yeah, I mean, somebody asked me, what do you mean? Why do we need a plan? And what do you mean by that? So it's like, suppose I want to make a potato sabzi. I want to make a potato curry, right?
Yeah.
So how do I make a potato curry? I follow the steps to make a potato curry. I do not follow the steps to make a rajma curry to make a potato curry. Right? I mean, I cannot just randomly go in the kitchen and do some things and get potato curry, right? I need to take the potatoes, boil the potatoes, peel the potato, whatever I need to do to the potatoes.
Yeah.
So similarly, that's what it is. If my goal is that, I need to work towards that goal rather than randomly going in the kitchen and banging a bunch of dishes. I will not do just like that.
Oh, now I want potato curry, but that's so funny. So funny.
Yeah.
Great. Okay. So we've talked a lot about, what you help clients with in your own journey. A few more questions here. how to motivate yourself. How do you motivate yourself to work out when you just don't feel like it? Especially now, right? You're training for this competition, a lot of training. What do you do on those days?
I'll be honest. There are days I do feel like I just don't want to move, and I just keep on pushing it till late in the night. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. And I don't do it. But I really liked the bank balance analogy, where we deposit and we kind of withdraw. But it goes that way. But I like to think, just Shweta, just 10 minutes. If okay, you don't want to do a leg day, no worries. Just go to the gym or do something, move for 10 minutes. After that, if you don't feel like it, don't do it.
Yeah.
And very often than not, I might feel like it. But if I still don't feel like it, like a leg day is like a huge thing and I don't feel like it, I might do an upper body day, or I might just do a cardio day, or I just get something done. But if still I don't feel like doing, I listen to my body.
Yeah.
And take a break that day then.
No, that makes sense. Yeah, just starting small with something. That's actually it's funny you say that. Every single one of our coaches who I've interviewed has said some version of that. So it's got to try it, you guys who are listening. Just start small, 10 minutes. You can do anything for 10 minutes. And the bank balance analogy that Shweta is talking about is, I did a post recently that was talking about how your health is kind of like a bank account. Every time that you eat a healthy meal or go for a walk or go to the gym or do something health promoting, it's like you're depositing coins in that bank account. And, you know, if you have a lot of deposits, a few withdrawals don't really matter that much. If you go on vacation, if you have a rough day and don't do anything, right? But if you have no deposits and you're constantly withdrawing and, you know, not moving, eating food that's not good for your body, all of that, eventually that you go into debt, and it really adds up with chronic illness and heart disease and things like that. So we don't want to go in debt. We want that bank balance to be positive. And every time you do something health promoting, just think of that analogy of like, I'm putting in coins for my future self. It's kind of like long-term thinking versus the short term. So great. What's your favorite indulgent food?
Chocolate.
Chocolate? Like
you give me a chocolate ice cream, okay, chocolate chips and chocolate syrup and a brownie. I mean, the more chocolate you can get is, I mean, I can take chocolate in any form.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
What's a fun fact most people don't know about you?
I think I mean, now that I think about it, okay, I'll talk about my favorite childhood crush, Salman Khan. He was, I loved him since when I was 8.
Wow. Okay.
I used to write love letters to him.
Oh my gosh. Funny story. Wait, keep going, then I'll share a funny story.
I used to write love letters to him, mail it to him, celebrate his birthdays, buy his pictures. Oh, and I would cry for him. I mean, I was 8, I think, when I watched a trailer of his movie and I fell in love. It was love at first sight. Oh, even now, I tell my husband he comes second. Because I mean, I don't know, it's just something, you know, first love. So yeah, that's I was known as Salman Khan when I was younger because everybody knew that I was crazy about him. So yeah, that's not a lot of people do know that, but yeah.
Okay, so funny story. I was coaching a client a few years ago and we were having the conversation and there was like a man standing on the side. I couldn't see it properly. It was just kind of like just a little bit of the man I could see. And the whole time I thought it was like her husband or somebody. I was like, why is this man standing there listening to us talking about your body and food and your health behaviors? Like, don't you want this to be private? Like, are you really okay with your husband standing right there? And he just wouldn't move. And then at the end of the conversation, I asked her about it and she turned the camera. It was a giant cutout of Salman Khan. A giant life-size cutout. She had a big crush on him and her friends got it for her birthday. It was so funny.
I went to the IFA Awards in 2017. There were IFA Awards in New York and Salman Khan was going to host it. I told my husband that was my lifelong dream, and my friend and I, we bought tickets we stayed in the same hotel he stayed in. I got to see him so close and it was just so tongue-tied, you know. I mean, like, okay, now I can die. I have everything.
Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing. I feel that way about Tiger Shroff.
Yeah.
But without I'm not a fan of the facial hair.
I think he needs the facial hair to make him look a little older. Otherwise, he looks very young.
I like the like moderate scruff, but not the full on.
Yeah.
Um, like I think there was one of his Boggy movies that
Yeah,
he
he's really,
shorter hair.
he's, oh my God, yeah, he's hot.
Okay, so what is your favorite brand of workout clothes?
Old Navy.
Okay,
I mean,
you have some good finds.
Old Navy has this Elevate leggings. I have not worn Lululemons because I've heard people say once you wear them, you don't back to anything else. So, and I don't want to do that.
That's true.
So, but I've tried Athleta, Carbon 38, even Gymshark, but Old Navy is something, the Elevate leggings, they are just so comfortable. Also, there's another brand on, it's a well-known secret on Amazon. It's called CRZ Yoga.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh my God, their leggings are for $25 and they are just so great. They're very good. I just love these two leggings the most.
Yeah, I'm gonna try those.
Very comfortable and they're really good.
Yeah, it's
Great.
definitely true. If you get the Athleta Lululemon Aligns, you won't go back.
That's why I'm not getting them.
Okay, what is your favorite beverage, either alcoholic or non-alcoholic?
I have it here for you.
Oh, Diet Coke.
I love my diet. I don't drink alcohol. I do not enjoy the smell. But I love my pick me up diet. I'm very sensitive to caffeine. If I drink too much coffee, or even if I drink coffee, I get jittery. So this Diet Coke just has enough caffeine to keep me awake, or as a pre-workout too. So that's just how much caffeine I can tolerate. So if I need some, like on a leg day especially, I need some pre-workout, or I've had a long day and I need to, then I just have a Diet Coke to keep me going.
Yeah, that makes sense. Awesome. Well, this was a great chat. Is there anything else that you'd like our community to know about you?
No, you've asked it all. I want to say that I'm really excited to be here. And I've told this to you, Dee, before, but BBR, I'm just so impressed with what you've built with BBR. It's not just a macro and it's not just about, oh, we'll give you a diet plan and we'll give you a workout, please go and do it. No, that's if weight loss,
yeah.
Though I said weight loss is simple because it's science, but if it was that simple, you know, we wouldn't have the obesity pandemic or epidemic that is going on right now in the United States. So what I really love is how you've researched and made the entire client plans and I mean, it is really hats off to you on that.
Thank you.
And I am really proud of myself and of you. I'm really proud of myself to be able to, I never thought, right? A month back, I was sitting at home as like a housewife. Yes, I was coaching women, but I was like just, and now I'm like a working woman and it feels so good. And thank you so much for that.
So awesome. Thank you for joining our team and having this great conversation. I'm really excited for all our clients who get to work with you and witness your wisdom and hilariousness and just fun style. Oh, actually, one more question. Is there anything like, what is your coaching style like?
I'm very friendly. I am, I'm a very, I like to say that I'm a very open person and I can connect to people very well. So people can expect me to be like a friendly, fun person, kind of trying to motivate them. I like to say, if you need a kick in the butt, I'll give you that. If you need a shoulder to cry on, I'll give you that. If you need a hand to hold, I'll give you that, you know? So that is what I will be to my clients. So whatever they need, if they need somebody to push them, I'll do that for them. If they need somebody to guide them, I'll do that for them. So that's just what they can expect, fun along the way too. And yeah, just keeping it simple and having fun along the way. And I think that's just it.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Yeah, I think you get the job done and you do it well, but you also don't take things too seriously and make sure people have fun in the process.
Yeah.
Great. Well, if you're listening to this, make sure to follow Shweta on Instagram, at Strength with Shweta, one word. We'll link it in the links below here. If you're interested in working with Shweta, click the links below. or go to bossbodyrevolution.com/apply to work with us. And we will catch you later.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.